Knicks up 2-0. Grit, grind. This one was a close game, and they pulled it out with the execution down the stretch. The best fourth quarter team? Let's talk about it, man. The streets are buzzing. Welcome into the recap. Game 2, Knicks get the dub over Philly, 108 to 102. Just a 6-point game, man. And look, the Knicks weren't going to continue to blow teams out by 30, right? This was a real quintessential playoff game where, like I said, they grinded it out late in the fourth quarter, and it was tough shot making that kept this one close on both sides, right? On the Philly side, I think no Embiid defense was better, right? I think they're better with Embiid offensively, but they're better defensively without Embiid, right? And I knew the effort would be there, man, as I predicted in the preview and the recap of my video in game 1. But Mikal Bridges is really starting to step up, man. He was one of my X factors coming into this series, man. And a lot of things are coming true, man. I thought this one would be a lot closer, but as we talk about the OG Anunoby injury, we don't really have much of an update. But I'll give you my thoughts on that. We'll give out the game ball, or maybe two, and we'll talk about how the Knicks got this one done. But first, man, hit that like button. Let us know you're buzzing. New York Knicks fans worldwide enjoying this ride because the Knicks are up 2-0 and commanding position, man. Game 1's the easiest to steal, but game 2 you can see a letdown sometimes. And like I said, the Knicks weren't going to continue to blow teams out by 30. And so this one was going to have to be back to basics. Well, get through with basics fundamentally. And look, the Knicks shot 50% from the field, but they shot 28% or so from downtown. We'll take a look at the stats in a minute. But what kept the Knicks in this ball game was, tough shot making from the 2-point range. Jalen Brunson, Mikal Bridges, clutch shots as well. Late shot clock execution. Look, credit to Philly because they bounced back in terms of defensively, their effort. They were a lot more desperate, and we knew we were going to see that. Did the New York Knicks, put themselves in a position to win this game earlier? Not really. I do think it's a situation where the adjustments that the other team that lost game 1, they're always going to make those, and that's why I kind of feel like with playoff ball, man, it can swing with players coming in and out. Now it's time for the Knicks to have to see if OG can't make it for game 3, they'll have to, try something different. But look, without Embiid, I do think it caught up to Philly late, with lack of shot making down the stretch. Like, you try to speed Maxey up. I thought the Knicks did a phenomenal job guarding Maxey as well as you possibly can. I mean, he's a blur, but a lot of Philly fans are getting on Maxey because he only knows how to play at one speed. He's in 6th gear right when the game starts, and that's where Brunson and these other players that are clutch players. They know how to close games out. Got to slow it down, get the game on your terms. But look, we knew the depth would be an issue with Philly, lack of shot making. They need more out of EJ Edgecombe. I think Paul George gave him as much as he possibly could. From a defensive standpoint, Mitchell Robinson missed this game due to illness. So we expect Mitch to hopefully be back for the next one. But look, I do think it just comes down to the fourth quarter in this one, and the Knicks are comfortable in that position. Like I said, they've been the best fourth quarter team in NBA ball for most of the season, and the reigning clutch player of the year, and that's right where you want to be. I mean, you got to be comfortable grinding these games out because if the Knicks are going to get close to winning a championship, they're going to be doing it this way, in my opinion. You ain't going to be blowing teams out by 30, right? That was a dream in terms of that continuing because teams are going to be more desperate. And so I kind of feel better about how this game played out, how it finished, because, like I said, you only shoot 28% from downtown and you still get the win because you shoot 50% from the field. So it kind of balanced itself out. The Knicks only had 2 blocks, so they could do a lot better defensively, in my opinion. I think Kelly Oubre got a couple of too many wide open looks. He knocked down 3 threes. Um, and Paul George obviously hit some tough shots as well. But back to the Knicks, I thought Josh Hart, his big three, at a moment where the Knicks just needed to keep up with the scoring because they weren't getting stops. And also thought the big long two broken play, Mikal Bridges, another phenomenal shot where he hadn't been hitting them this season, and now we're starting to see those shots go down for Mikal Bridges. So that is huge. I thought Deuce McBride hit a really, really clutch three as well, with confidence, stepping in. You see OG, man, before the injury, slamming that one down as we look at these highlights. I thought Cat showed leadership as well. I thought Hart was a little bit on the edge, complaining to the referees. I'm going to bring up a clip in a minute with Cat trying to push Josh Hart away from getting a technical, because a 1 point technical could be, make a difference in a close game in this one. But you see Brunson go to work, fam, on Barlow, a longer body, but Brunson knows where he wants to be. The pump, the step back. The Knicks did it in the mid-range. Big shot here from Mikal. I mean, that's one of the biggest shots he's hit in the season. But yeah, I got to continue to give love to our big bodega, man, the Cat Panther, because he's playing phenomenal. Him and OG, probably players of the playoffs so far for the New York Knicks. Brunson, though, is coming fast, but Cat's just playing under control. Obviously, the fouls are still there at times, but, he's playing a lot more locked in defensively, offensively, playing under so much more control, man, which is key in the playoffs because you don't want to give up momentum, right? We'll talk about game 3 in a minute, but the stats, the history continues to roll. The Knicks, right, plus 141 in the last 5 games in the playoffs, man, the most lopsided 5-game stretch in playoff history. So we've got to give that a big salute right there. But of course, we've got to hit on the somber note. There's a lot of speculation right now. This account on X, at a great slow down video, speculates that it could be a thigh bruise. Looks like OG may have bumped in terms of the Maxi situation here, where he came up limping. It could be a knee to knee, knee to thigh contusion. That would be best case scenario, in my opinion. Now, if it is hamstring, it doesn't look as bad as it was against Indiana, two years back. However, you just never know. I don't want to spend too much time speculating. By the time this video drops, we might have an update. Mike Brown didn't have any update at the podium, so we're just going to have to wait and find out. But that's playoff ball, man. That's why you got to, build up a strong bench, build up your depth. But I'm under no illusions, man. Knicks fans, understand how important OG Anunoby is. You can't replace OG. You just can't. Could it be Mo Diawara get some minutes? Probably Shamit see a lot more minutes. Deuce McBride will see more minutes, in my opinion. Hakpority Sohan, opportunity to go double bigs if Mitch makes a recovery from his illness. Now, words were exchanged, man, after full time at the buzzer with Jeremy Sohan and McCullough. Looks like people speculating that Sohan was talking smack to VJ Edgecombe and Kelly Oubre about not being blown out. I would love to see Sohan not do this, but that's who he is. Got in there for a minute, played a nice defensive possession, I think, to end the half, did Jeremy Sohan. You guys let me know in the comment section. Are you feeling this from Sohan? He's not really playing much in this series to be yapping, but I get it, man. Probably some talk from Philly's bench to Sohan, and so he wanted to talk back. Right, this is playoff ball, so I get it. At the end of the day, you're going to have a little bit of aggro and some back and forth, but as long as our starters continue to handle their business, that's all that matters. Now, look, moving forward, all the Knicks got to do is secure one in Philly. If they secure 2, then it's a sweep, and we're all dancing on the table. Looking forward to the Eastern Conference Finals, but we obviously wait, man, holding our breath, prayers up, whatever it is, man. Pray to the gods, the juju, that OG can be right and not miss any time. And if he does, a small amount of time, fam. But we'll wait and see, right? I ain't going to speculate too much. But like I said, I do think it's an opportunity for a Diawara. Maybe he splits by committee with a little bit of Sohan. Like I said, he could just go trust Huck Porty more, who's been, somewhat of a factor in this series anyway. And maybe you start playing double bigs a lot more. We'll wait and see, obviously, on Embiid. That's another big factor as well. Because if Embiid plays game 3, that opens the door for extra double big. If Embiid doesn't play again, you kind of want to probably go a bit smaller because Maxey, Edgecombe, Paul George, they're going to continue to try to run and they defend well with the smaller bodies. Kelly Oubre had a good game as well, right? But yeah, here we see the leadership of Cat. And as we pull up the box score and we'll give out the game balls, let us know how you're feeling. What I really liked in this performance is obviously OG stands out, man. Went down with 2 minutes remaining, played most of the game, 24 points, plus 12, 4 steals, a block, 2 assists, 5 bounds, and no turnovers, ladies and gentlemen. I was thinking of only giving one to Brunson, but I'm like, look, Brunson had 3 turnovers, OG had none, with 9 of 17, only 2 of 7, though, from downtown. Look, Hart's minutes, man, 43. That is crazy. But obviously, Hart's defense has been. It needs a huge shout out this playoffs. This is the best I've probably seen Josh Hart defend, if I'm being real. Especially the job he did in round 1 on Jalen Johnson, CJ McCollum. Completely shut him out of that series right now. I mean, there are times during the regular season where Hart just looked like he was over the hill defensively in terms of like, you know, not staying in front of people. Now he's staying in front of dudes and he's just really locking in. So I really sense that Josh Hart understands the moment. This is a guy who's 31 now. He knows that this core together with his Villanova brothers, the stakes, James Dolan pledging that this team make it to the finals. I really feel like an OG like Josh Hart understands what's on the line from these performances that I'm seeing from Josh Hart. He's just laying it all out there. Same with Cat and pretty much all the other guys, but especially Hart defensively, right? Now, my X factor in the series, Mikal Bridges, 9 of 13, couldn't buy a 3, but gave you 5 rebounds. That's a rarity for Mikal. So 2 assists, 5 rebounds was big time and 18 points. Probably his best performance in the postseason. 2 back-to-back good performances. Like I told you in the preview, he hates Philly. They traded him away. His mother worked for the organization, and he's comfortable going up against Philly and will be comfortable playing in Philly in Game 3 and Game 4. And obviously we save some of the best till last. Brunson's 40 minutes, once again, Mr. Clutch, got us out of jail, took us home to victory with 6 assists, 3 turnovers. You hate to see that. A couple of them late when they tried to trap and blitz. But without further ado, man, I'm going to give out the deuce, the 2 game balls to OG and to JB in this one. Cat, honourable mention, Mikal and Hart. Hopefully we see Mitch back in Game 3. But yeah, look, we can win a championship with this core. We know this with Brunson, the clutch player. Cat sharing the ball as well, and the Knicks figuring things out offensively. Like I said, it wasn't as pretty as these other performances, but like I said, this is really playoff ball. You got to get used to this because these blowouts of by 30 points, they just weren't going to continue. And this is the way that you're going to win a championship. Close games, okay, put the ball in your best player's hands to bring you home, ladies and gentlemen. And that's what we're going to see. But ideally, we want less isolation for most of the game, right? Moving forward now, Game 3, let's talk about it because I really feel like Philadelphia probably rested Embiid in this one. They talk about soreness. Um, I think the Knicks, obviously, they they struggled a little bit to score in the first two quarters because of Philadelphia's defense. Philly, I think, will continue to play solid defense without Embiid. If Embiid comes back game three, I think that gives the Knicks more of an edge just because of the X's and O's. The drop coverage. They can't really switch anything. Um, he's just slow footed. I talked about it in the preview. Embiid can't defend like he used to. So they've got an interesting conundrum, this Philly, because this was their best chance, in my opinion, to steal a game and to try to make something of this series. Now I do feel strongly it's going to end in 5 or 6 now because the Knicks just took their best punch. How much better can Philadelphia play? They shot. Let's bring up the numbers right now. They shot well from downtown, really well, and 45% from the field, 38% from downtown. So yeah, they could shoot better than 38%, but again, how are they going to slow the Knicks down and shoot well as well? The Knicks won the fast breaks, the second chance, pointers in the paint as well. Like I said, I think the Knicks have played in the playoffs before tonight. Only 2 blocks, but the 10 steals is good. Great 10 steals, 25 assists though is good. Um, and you lost the rebounding. So look, let's see what happens. Mitch coming back. Is OG going to miss time? Does Embiid come back? Um, Look, I think Embiid's going to come back. I think it's do or die. If Philly lose game three, you're down, in an impossible hole that you just can't recover from, right? Down 3-0, the series is done. The Knicks will have 4 chances to close it out. So look, game three is a must win for Philly. For me, for the Knicks, just put pressure on them, man. There's going to be a big presence in the building. Knicks fans represent. And I do think, they're going to get nervous, Philadelphia. If the Knicks, it's a close game and the Knicks are there hanging around, making plays. Does someone go off? Does Deuce McBride just go off for 5 threes like Alvarado did? I'm trying to foreshadow something positive. Does Mikal Bridges catch fire and hit 4 threes? Is it more of just Brunson and Cat? Could be anything, man. I do think the Knicks feel so comfortable in Philadelphia. We've seen it for years now. The history's in the building with the Villanova guys, winning those championships in college down there in the arena. Adembona, Drummond. If Embiid's out, that's another issue. They can't really control the Knicks bigs, right? They're going to have to gang rebound. They're trying to get minutes out of Dominic Barlow. They're trying to get minutes out of, these other guys, Paul George, maybe playing small ball 5 or 4. But yeah, I do think it comes down to this series could swing with OG Anunoby, right, and his situation. We wait with bated breath, ladies and gentlemen. Mike Brown deserves a big shout out because, yeah, this series, is there for the Knicks to win right now. Look, even without OG, I would still think the Knicks will close this one out in 5 or 6. But look, game 3 will tell us a lot. If Philly pull out game 3, then obviously the pendulum can swing and they start to feel some confidence. Then game 4 becomes a must win for the Knicks. But game 3, you win that one and it's a wrap. Eastern Conference Finals. So the Knicks are in a phenomenal position. Shout out to the whole squad, man, top to bottom. Shout out to the fans. Shout out to the Knicks streets. Represent, buzzing, hitting that like button. And I'm just loving what I'm seeing so far with these guys locked in. Now, yeah, this one was obviously a lot more sloppy. I think execution was good down the stretch. Philadelphia ran out a lot of gas. Their depth, I think as this series goes longer as well, that's going to count against Philadelphia and in the Knicks' favor, man, even more so with the Knicks can go deeper into their bench, right? We didn't get great performances from the bench in this game, in my opinion, right? I still think Alvarado, right, if he's not giving you major spark defensively, his offensive possessions can be rough, right? But Shamet was my X factor in this one too. Couldn't hit a shot in this game. Does he get more minutes or is it Diawara? You guys let me know. All right, if OG's out, it's purely speculation right now, but it didn't look great. And even if he feels okay, do you risk it? Do you sit him? It just depends on what it is, I guess. If it's just a contusion and he can play through some pain, then you play. If it's more of a muscle ailment, hamstring, tightness, then you probably don't risk it, because you're up 2-0. You can take that gamble in game 3. Mikal Bridges, Mr. Iron Man, can step up. Hart will continue to play 40 minutes, man. That's a Tom Thibodeau type stat line for Josh Hart. So I'm going to give you a prediction, man. I do think the Knicks, it'll be a close game. Game 3, it'll be very similar. Knicks play so well on the road, and I think they pull it out. I think the Knicks will go up 3-0 in the series. I think they've taken Philly's best shot tonight. This was the game that, like I said, Atlanta were able to get game 2 and game 3, and that changed that series a little bit. This was Philly's chance. I think they missed out. I think they missed it. A lot of Philly fans feeling angry about the trade deadline. They traded away McCain, Daryl Morey, sold at the deadline, fam. Sold out to maybe save some buck right now, and it's cost Philadelphia with a lack of depth right now. But shout out to Orange and Blue. It's what we do. And I'll be live post-game, game 3 on Friday night. Hopefully have EJ come through the building. Join us, fam, live as we react to game 3 on Friday night in Philadelphia. And I'm expecting a big performance from the Knicks, man. They're super locked in right now. We'll see how the other series pans out tomorrow. If Detroit go up 2-0, then I think Cleveland's in a world of trouble right now. I just don't think Cleveland are a great matchup for Detroit, personally. I predicted Detroit to win. And I do think it's bad because the Knicks, Detroit's a tougher matchup for the Knicks. I still think the Knicks would win the series, but I do think Detroit's a tougher matchup than Cleveland, right? But look, hopefully Cleveland can win game 2 and extend that series. That would be great. And we'll see what plays out. San Antonio obviously leveled their series too with Minnesota. And tomorrow we'll also see OKC versus the Lake Show to see what happens in that one. But we all know Oklahoma's going to get through to the conference finals, right? They're probably going to play the Spurs, in my opinion. It's going to be, my prediction's pretty much Knicks, Detroit, conference finals, man. We're going to get the matchup we want, the matchup they want, the matchup everyone wants, and we're going to get San Antonio OKC. Hopefully San Antonio can get to the finals too, because I think that's a better matchup for our New York Knicks, man. But look, CT signing out. Well done. Knicks up. Prayers up for OG. And if we get an update, man, I'll put it in the comment section so y'all already know what it is. Hit that like button. Big up and peace.